What is up, and welcome back to the channel. We are your Colorado real estate family.
And today we're going to be talking about Lakewood, Colorado. A lot of people are talking about moving and living in Lakewood, and rightfully so. It's close to the mountains, it's close to Denver, but today we're going to talk about what does it actually cost to live there.
All right, let's go.
If you're new to the channel, Chelsea and Pete here, and if you're interested in moving to Colorado, Denver, or any of the surrounding cities, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We're putting out a couple videos every single week.
I like how you did a little
He's always messing with me.
Yeah, guys, we'd like to be as your boots on the ground experts, because if you're planning on moving into Colorado, more specifically Lakewood, we want to give you all the information that you need to know. We're talking about house prices, we're talking about activities, all the great things that you really want to know before moving into the city. With that, licensed real estate agent here, helping you out with all of your real estate needs. So if you're looking at moving into Colorado, give us a call on that phone number right below right there. Chelsea's most likely going to be the one answering that call so that we can help you out when you're buying a house, condo, townhouse, doesn't matter, in the state of Colorado. All right, before we get started with this video, we've been on a pretty good streak in regards to being able to record outside, but here we are late May and Colorado decided to throw us a curveball and it's a blizzard out right now, so.
I almost wore my turtleneck and was going to be like, well, I know it's May, but...
Yeah, late May at that. Like, I think growing up, the latest snowstorm I remember was like a couple days after Mother's Day, but the fact that it's almost June and we just had the snowstorm, a lot of people were like, you know, pulling all their plants in, make sure nothing gets frozen. We were having to shake off the tree last night because the last thing you want is your tree that already has its leaves to be breaking and such. So, all right, sorry to get off topic, but here we go. We're going to really discuss line item by line item the true cost of living in Lakewood, Colorado. If this is your first time watching one of our cost of living videos, what we like to do is do it on a number basis, right? And so where 100 is your baseline, right? That's your national average. So 100 is like, all right, here's what it is. Gather everything in the nation together, and that's what it is. If it's higher than that line, obviously it's more expensive than your national average. If it's lower, then it's cheaper than your national average. So first things first, we'll talk about Lakewood. As a whole, we'll talk about everything kind of grouped into one. You're looking at a 127.7 out of 100. So it's definitely more expensive than your national average, but it's not quite as high as a few of these other cities we covered. Like we're talking like Boulder, even like Aspen and all the crazy mountain towns up there as well too.
Well, and I think what contributes to that is the fact that, you know, this is one of the cities that we also cover that's close to the mountains. And so we do start seeing a lot of those custom builds up in the foothills, a little bit further south in Lakewood when it starts to almost get into Littleton. Again, we start seeing some really, really nice custom builds. So that will definitely rise that price up. The other thing too is that it's not like your typical city. So there's not as many, like, they're usually single family homes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm going to break that down even more because there's some feedback that I received from you guys when I break into the housing costs and all that, asking to go a little bit deeper. So hang out till the end of this video, or I guess more towards the middle of the video when I go over housing. And I'm really going to break that down a little bit more. And a part of that really covers what Chelsea just mentioned.
So let's talk about groceries. And we have talked about this a lot, so I'm so sorry if you follow us along and you're like, Chelsea, you always say the same thing, because it's true. We don't see a lot of changes in grocery costs across the board. So Lakewood as a whole is 101.6, national average being 100, so barely above. Again, you know, unless you're in like Boulder, we start to see some of the cities that are a little bit
local markets.
Yeah, a little more leaning towards the local markets, or just kind of trying to, you know, support local. We still start seeing all of the chains of the Walmarts, the King Soopers, and all of the things that we have here in Colorado. Yeah. Therefore, it doesn't really change the price that much.
Well, and then, like, if you don't know what King Soopers is, because I mean, I know before we went to Florida, we didn't know what the heck a Publix was.
That's
so
true.
King Soopers is our Kroger chain that's here in Colorado. So just to kind of fill you in, King Soopers and City Market are the two that you're looking at for Kroger in Colorado.
Yeah, we do not see across cities the prices of those, like at Walmart and King Soopers, changing that much. And
well,
so,
I mean, with all the supply issues we're having right now, I mean, we could be throwing these numbers out and it might be something insane. Who knows with everything going on and all the inflation. But like right now, what we're kind of looking at, it's good to look at these numbers that we have a good basis basing it off the national average compared to what you're looking at. So
yeah, and just if you're new to our videos, just so you know, we always look up the most recent numbers that we can for you guys before we do this, because we do know that it changes. You know, you could be watching this a year from now and it might look very, very different. So for, you know, it's May of 2022. Right now, those are the most up-to-date numbers.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about health. Obviously, a true passion of mine. This is 92. For Lakewood, which is awesome. So that's below the national average. One of the things that Colorado really has, and this is a lot of our clients have been asking this, especially our retirees, is access to healthcare. Because Lakewood is very close to Denver, it does, and then Denver kind of, because it's so saturated with a lot of different healthcare systems, it does kind of go outward to your surrounding cities. And so Lakewood does have a lot of, you know, doctors' offices and things like that that are contributing to this cost. And so because we have so many, you know, different healthcare facilities and things like that, you're going to have a competitive price, which therefore drives it down from the national average.
Yeah, and it's just so great. I mean, of all the things that we talk about in regards to costs, I mean, the fact that health is so much lower than the national average is so amazing, you know, whereas opposed to some other states where it might be a little bit higher. I honestly don't know because I don't look at what other states are, but the fact that it's below national average, that's a good thing to have in a city like Lakewood, Colorado.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we start to see, Colorado as a whole is very good about that. The only thing that we start to see things rise up is some of those surrounding cities that might not have as many options. But because Lakewood's right there, again, that is going to be a great spot for healthcare.
All right, cool. So now we're going to dive into real estate. So hopefully you stuck around to this video so I can really dive in a little bit more. Now, when we initially get these numbers, when we talk about our point system, we get it from, what is it, Better Place or bestplaces.com or something. Anyways, I'm gonna say that it's the information in regards to housing isn't updated as mine because I get to see the stats live, right? It's literally like second by second, minute by minute, and so it's jumbled a little bit, but also the point system that they threw out there. They said that housing, in regards to the national average, is 177 out of 100. So definitely more expensive than your national average, right? And so let's just throw that out there. Let's dig in a little bit deeper. And this is where I kind of talked about, you guys wish that I would go in a little bit more specifically into what kind of housing we're talking about. Okay, so let's go over that first number. And the first one's going to be everything jumbled into one. We're talking about single family, we're talking about multifamily, so your condos and your townhouses, everything all into one. You have a median sales price as of March 2022 of $602. What does that look like in regards to what was it the last 12 months? Well, that's 25, almost 26% up from 2021 or March of 2021. So it's actually definitely gaining. I mean, double digits is always good to see. We don't know what's going to happen with the market. Everyone's saying housing bubble this, whatever. But I mean, it's great to see that you're getting some great numbers. You know, it's going up like crazy, and Colorado as a whole is going up. Now let's break that down a little bit. This, what you guys really wanted is like, all right, well, what about single family as opposed to multifamily? And this is kind of where it came in, where Chelsea's like, hey, you know what? There's a lot more single family in Lakewood than there is multifamily. And so if you're looking to buy a single family house, your median sales price is at $643 as of March of 2022. Now here's a huge jump right here. If we're looking at multifamily, so your condos and your townhouses, attached row homes, you know, that style of living, you're looking at a median sales price March 2022 of $360. You're like, well, that's a huge gap. You know, if you throw those numbers together, it doesn't make sense to get that 602. It is because that there's so much more single family in Lakewood as opposed to your multifamily.
Okay, so let's talk about all the things that makes the house go, right? And that's all your utilities. Utilities over in Lakewood is a 95.3 in comparison to 100. So it's below national average. I never really know why it's below national average, but it is. So here across Colorado, and it is pretty consistent that in Colorado we are below the national average for utilities.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that, like, we never realized this until we purchased out of state, where a lot of your furnaces or your heating systems are electric. Here, there were gas, and so we have that natural gas aspect to our furnaces, and that might have something to do with the fact why our utilities are so much lower. Electricity costs or water costs have always been pretty good. There is a kind of a scarcity of water in Colorado just because we rely on the Rocky Mountains and whatever comes down. So if there's a drought, obviously we have less water and we got to get on water restrictions. But I think it has more to do with the natural gas and the propane than it does the fact that everything's not ran by electricity.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Solar. Do you think that contributes to it?
No, because okay, so here's something that people don't really think about with solar. First one's being is if you don't purchase the system outright, if you lease it, now you're paying to lease the solar, and if it doesn't 100% cover your electricity bill, then you're paying for the lease, and then you're paying whatever's left over in your electricity bill. Here's the other thing that people don't really think about solar. Insurance companies, at least in Colorado, I don't know about outside, they don't cover for you to get your roof replaced, to remove those solar panels and put them back on. So that's an added cost as well too. All right, the next one we're going to dive in, we're actually cruising through this video right now. This is only the second time that we've done a video about Lakewood, Colorado. The first one we did in the fall of 2021, and so now we're sitting here, just right about into summer, and we're having to do it inside. But Lakewood's a beautiful city, and we wanted to cover it again. This video is long overdue, so here we go. We're going to dive into our next category, which is transportation. Transportation, you're looking at, like I said, that line system 100, you're right at a 117.1. A little bit higher. I think our insurance has a lot to play into this, because we do have a ton of hail in the state of Colorado, and with that, a lot of windshields are getting replaced, a lot of hail damage on your cars, and so that is actually incorporated into that transportation piece. We do have a great light rail system that we've talked about over and over and over again, and it's amazing. So I think that's going to help bring that number down a little bit as it kind of grows out a little bit more. But transportation is a little bit higher. Maybe it's public transportation isn't as good as, say, some of these other cities.
Well, and then wasn't the line from Denver to Lakewood one of the first for our
I think
light
it
rail
was.
station?
I think it was the G. No, the G goes up to Arvada.
I'm actually so embarrassed to say that that's like the only one I've taken.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so far I'm so excited.
Well,
we just have one up north now.
We have a station up near us, sort of, and we actually have some friends who take it all the time. We actually have someone in our neighborhood who's helping expand that line further north, but we've never taken it. The only lines I've taken,
one time.
the only lines that we've taken are pretty much from the mountains into Denver. So,
but I'm still I'm excited, because now we're gonna actually be able, like, it's close enough now that we can walk to it. Like some of these, a lot of people in Lakewood and some of the original lines, they can walk to that and then take that transportation in. But we just now kind of got access to that walkability of that.
So I mean, those are the biggest. I think those are the two biggest things. I think that why that number's a little bit higher than our national average. Outside of that, it's really not that bad. Well, actually, Colorado's one of the most expensive states to register your car to. Like the taxes and everything to purchase, and then your plates on your car. We're one of the pricier states for sure. So that might have something to contribute to.
Just for for purposes of talking about time. So we are May in 2022. What is like kind of our gas price right now?
Gas price right now, it's actually lower than most. So we do Costco. If this is your first time watching us, we are Costco fans, like huge Costco fans. I think I just filled up. I think it was like $3.91 a gallon. Okay. And I have one of my best buds. He lives out in San Diego. He says that like 6 is usually what he's looking at right now, and he's like some places are even closer to 7. So
just wanted to throw it in there just to kind of give you an idea of where we are right now in May of 2022 and our gas prices, because of course you have to think about that with transportation.
Yeah, and unfortunately they're saying that number's not going down. So just got to see what happens.
Okay, let's go into miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is like your shopping. What else is all the miscellaneous topic?
Restaurants, like price to eat out, entertainment, bowling. Bowling? I don't know.
Like we don't bowl.
Who doesn't like the bowl?
It's so funny you brought that. We don't.
I bowl like a gorilla, so I throw backhanded. So most people do this, and I don't know. I didn't realize until someone called me out. Like, why do you throw like that? I was like, throw like what?
It's so funny.
Like, you throw like a gorilla.
Yeah, he's like, wow.
Never noticed.
Peter and I make bets that like we're gonna get over 100. That tells you our bowling skills. Okay. All right. So miscellaneous is 108.7 in comparison to that 100. Yeah. I really, really think that this is because Colorado is all about local. I think that most Colorado people, especially in the ones that have like those downtown areas, which stick around. We are going to cover some really cute downtown little areas and small towns in the next couple days or so. So stick around for that. Yep. But I really do think that Colorado just would rather support local, and so those boutiques and all of those handmade, artisan kind of shops are like really well received here. And because you want to say boutique.
I had to bite my tongue.
He wants to say boutique every time. Okay, whatever. I need like a song for it because it needs to be like every time he wants to say it. I really do think that that's why. I mean, Denver as a whole, or Colorado as a whole, is like one of the most supported places to come and start a business, and that includes some of those, you know, like small businesses. So I really do think that that drives us up in the miscellaneous department.
Yeah, that's super possible for sure. So
I honestly, this might be a little controversial, but I honestly think this is just going to go up because of the pricing of restaurants and stuff. Like, we just went to one of our favorite restaurants last night, and like it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, my favorite meal is a lot. I'm so sad about it. But anyways,
we always, like, the majority of the time we base it off the kids' meals, because obviously we're parents and we're like, what? We paid how much for a kid's meal?
Oh my gosh. Well, and I was just talking with my friends, and actually a couple clients of ours as well who have kids the same age as ours. And they were like, man, you know, we just don't go out to eat as much because it's just, you know, we can't get out of there for under $100 when you're a family of 4, or, you know, I can't imagine your sister or somebody with multiple, way more kids than us. But I only think that that's going to increase the miscellaneous department, because we are starting to see a rise in prices with the restaurants and things like that.
Yep, exactly. All right, cool, guys. Well, that brings you Lakewood, Colorado. Like I said, this is only our second time doing it, and it was long overdue, so we're so glad that we could finally bring you this video.
Also, if you are interested in Lakewood, and Lakewood has been at kind of the top of your list, feel free to comment down below certain things that you want to know about Lakewood, and we will gladly do those videos. If you're interested in any other area, please let us know. We're covering a lot of the major cities, but we're starting to get to a point where we're probably going to have to cycle back around. So let us know by commenting down below. We do these videos for you.
Yeah, I actually just throw a little something outside there. I always love, like, when you guys come in and say the great things you love about this video, that video. It's always great hearing that feedback, because it helps us. It's like, all right, you know, obviously this provides value. So the fact that we see that coming back from you, those comments, we're like, all right, cool, we need to focus on this a little bit more. So again, if you're looking at purchasing a house, townhouse, condo, whatever it might be in the state of Colorado, give us a call. We're going to put that phone number in right below right there. And until next time, we love you. Bye.
Bye.